Last week on the show, we talked about a number that ought to stop every truck driver in their tracks. And that number is the number 61. That's the average life expectancy for a truck driver. Think about that for a second. 61 isn't retirement age for a lot of people anymore. It isn't meeting your grandkids. For some folks, it isn't even paying off the house. It's a number that's become accepted in an industry where too many people spend 10 hours a day behind the wheel, grabbing whatever meal's the easiest and promising themselves that they'll get healthy when things slow down. But here's the truth. Things never really do slow down. The freight keeps moving, the appointments keep coming, the truck stop roller grill is always right there, and somehow there's never enough time for yourself. And that's why I wanted to follow up our conversation with Lindsey Bryan from Project 61. Because talking about the problem is only half the battle. Today is about the solution. Not six-pack abs, not bodybuilding, not living on boiled chicken and broccoli until you're miserable. Just real people making real choices inside of a real truck. Driver and trainer Greg Sigler is going to tell you exactly what changed when he decided enough was enough. Rachel Dellaposta is going to take all those intimidating nutrition buzzwords like macros, calories, protein, and boil them down into something that anybody can understand. Together, these two are going to prove that getting healthier doesn't start with a perfect diet or a gym membership. It starts with one better decision that you made yesterday. If today's episode convinces just one driver to take a walk, swap one meal out, or choose one healthier snack, then we've already started changing the number 61. And maybe one driver at a time, 61 doesn't have to be the ending anymore.
You're listening to Always Pneumatic, Never Static, the totally pressurized podcast brought to you by Bulk Transit, where we keep the lines clear, the tanks empty, and the conversation anything but dry. Whether you're running powder, pellets, or anything in between, pull up a seat, crack the windows, and let's hit it.
How's it going out there, Bulk and Spur? Welcome into Always Pneumatic, Never Static. I'm your host, Marcus. Thank you so much for being here today. A very important episode for us today. And we'll get into that in just a second. Let's go ahead and get you to the homework first because I'm adding one assignment to your homework this week. Now, normally, I'll tell you your homework is to just go bookmark podcast.bulktransit.com. And your homework is still that. If you haven't done it yet, it's due sometime in the future. I'm just not going to tell you when. But if you haven't bookmarked it yet, you need to bookmark it for multiple reasons. One, all the episodes are there. That's where you can go to find every single episode that we've done without opening an app, without doing anything other than going to the web browser on your computer and looking in that bookmarks folder since you already bookmarked the website. The website's also the place where you can check up on any of the photo galleries that we're adding. Sometimes drivers send us pictures. We always want to make sure and get those up there. And you can send me a message directly. You can hit me right in the pocket from podcast.bulktransit.com. The other thing you can do is take the quizzes that are up there weekly. We put a quiz with pretty much every episode for you to take, and it's just practice right now. But if you want to test your mettle in the coming months, we will be giving something away here, and we will use those quizzes as your entries to get into the giveaway. So just stay tuned for that. We'll tell you whenever we're going to give it away. You can start going on there and taking the quizzes and getting your entries into the giveaway drawing. The addition to the homework today, because all that stuff we just talked about, that's all normal homework. You guys have been hearing that from me since the beginning. We're 20-some episodes in now. You got it, right? Here's one thing I want you to do for today's episode and every episode down the road. Tell a friend, okay? If that friend works at Bulk Transit, even better. If that driver or that person works elsewhere, that's fine too. All we want to do is get more people listening to this podcast, and especially this week's podcast, and last week's too, because it's sort of a follow-up. We're kind of following up a little bit, because if you heard last week's show, we talked to Project 61's Lindsey Bryan, and we talked about why truck driver health matters. Today, we're taking the next step. How do you actually eat healthier when your kitchen is 8 feet behind you and only includes a microwave? The schedule changes every day, and the nearest meal is usually a roller dog. How do you do it? Well, we've got a driver joining us today to tell us about that, and we've also got self-proclaimed gym rat Rachel Dellaposta in here, and you can tell that she's not only a self-proclaimed gym rat. Anybody else that looks at her and knows that she's in that gym so many days a week is going to say, that's a gym rat. She likes it in there, and she's in there all the time. She's going to help out and boil down some pretty crazy stuff that is like macros and calories and protein and carbs and all the rest of it. And she's going to give you some real layman's terms for it and make it really easy for you to keep an eye on that stuff. So this is like last week's, we talked about the problem with Lindsey Bryan. We talked about the number 61 and how depressing it really is. And we talked about baby steps and making incremental changes. And now you're going to hear that actually put into practice this week, because Greg will tell us like, hey, I needed to make a change, and he had his reasons. Rachel, it's always been something that she's been into, and she has fun with it, and she makes it a challenge to herself, and you can tell that it's a very rewarding challenge. Nobody that fancies themselves a gym rat hates themselves when they go in there, okay? That's a person that has found a way to enjoy the time in the gym, and I think that's a real big sticking point for a lot of people. Maybe you're just like me. I just really don't like all the people at the gym. You know, if you could give me that big gym with all that equipment, take all the people out of it, including the overly excited 17-year-old that's running the counter that won't stop calling me bruh, I would probably go there a lot more often. But it didn't work out, so I made a different change, and you'll hear about that too. I'm putting myself on the chopping block here for everybody to dress down, as it were, to let me know that my habits aren't always the best. I've used the conversations I've had with the pros out at Project 61 and the drivers telling me how they've gotten healthier as big inspiration. Because listen, if you can do it doing that job, I can do it when my gym is 20 steps from me right downstairs in an air-conditioned house with two corgis running around that are the cutest damn things you've ever seen. It's just, try working out with corgis. It's not possible, but damn it is fun. I digress. This is a great episode to tell a friend about. That's why I want you to add that to your homework this week. Tell somebody that hasn't been listening to Always Pneumatic, Never Static, that they need to listen to this episode. If they're going to give you 2 episodes, throw in last week's as well. I feel like it's a really good one to pair with this one. But we want to see drivers get healthier, and this is one step in the process. If we can change one habit through this podcast today, if we can even just speak to one person directly, and they go, you know what? I'm leaving the Snickers bar on the shelf, I'm grabbing a bag of pretzels, and I'm grabbing the small one. Great. Get the sugar-free soda instead of the fully leaded stuff. Maybe change out one energy drink for a glass of water this week. If we do that on this podcast, it will be a success. So, a lot of good information coming around the corner here. We're about to bring Rachel and Greg in here. And it's kind of funny because Rachel didn't really know that she was a part of this episode. Greg had put the idea in my head. I've been working on it. And Rachel, well, she was signed on before she even knew it. So let's get them in here right now. Talk about that a little bit off the top. I got Rachel Dellaposta and Greg Sigler right around the corner. Welcome back into Always Pneumatic, Never Static. Thanks so much for being here once again today. As I told you in the open, I'm very excited about this episode because it connects to last week's episode when we had Project 61's Lindsey Bryan on the air talking about different ways that drivers can get healthy, stay healthy, extend that lifespan beyond 61 years on average. That's the one thing we really want to do here. And today we're welcoming a couple of people who are here either by choice or by force. We haven't figured that out yet, but we'll figure it out as soon as we get them in here. First off, our guest that may be here by force today, let's welcome Rachel Dellaposta back to the show. She's the recruiting and retention manager for Bulk and Spur. Rachel, thank you so much for being here as always.
Always a pleasure.
Now, you told me that our other guest here today, Greg Sigler, told you were doing this in no uncertain terms. You weren't really asked. In fact, when I came to ask you if you were willing, you had already agreed to it. I didn't know that yet, so we appreciate it, but I like that kind of relationship that you and Greg have.
He said that, I was getting my name thrown out there as paybacks for throwing his name out there on my first episode.
Well, let's welcome him in here. Greg Sigler, driver and driver trainer for Bulk. Welcome in, Greg. You got your revenge, man. You feel good about it?
Hey, Yeah, I feel great, man. I'm smiling from ear to ear right now.
That's awesome. Well, listen, the last time I had you on, Greg, you and I were kind of talking a little bit about eating healthier and just kind of trying to stay in shape out there on the road. And you were the one, you mentioned Rachel all the way back then to me. And I thought it was really interesting because Rachel, not only in your personal life, it sounds like, are you very interested in eating healthier and watching what you eat and trying to eat clean, but you also talk to a lot of drivers who are coming possibly to a new company for the first time, and I wonder if sometimes they might have some misconceptions about how things are going to go out there. When a new driver tells you that they would love to eat healthier, they want to eat healthier out there on the road, Rachel, but trucking kind of makes it impossible. Do you have any way that you kind of contend with that when you're trying to maybe recruit somebody to the company? Because I can see, guys that are running nonstop. They're driving all 10 hours every single day. They got to get there. They're going these really long cross-country routes. Maybe that's actually a kind of a legitimate excuse there. But I wonder, as far as in the terms of Bulk and Spur are concerned, what type of things you hear when you're talking to new drivers about coming on with the company.
I would say the biggest thing is just kind of thinking it through in advance. So a lot of the drivers, they just jump in the truck and figure out food later. But I've heard, a lot of drivers have success where they actually plan out, what their snacks are going to be and what they're going to pack for the day, and they do the meal prepping and things. And so that makes a world of difference when you kind of have a plan going into it, and you can pack up your cab and have things ready to go, so that you're not making poor decisions when you're in a bind.
Absolutely. And was there a time, Rachel, has it been a long time that you've been kind of focused on this stuff in your own life? When did it kind of change for you? What did you make any type of big just lifestyle change or anything like that? Or how did it all begin for you?
Sure. So I have been a bit of a gym rat for about 10 years now. So getting into the gym, you were surrounded by a lot of health nuts. The physical activity is a huge thing, but when you get into all of that, recovery is important, and what you put into your body is important, and having, your calories calculated, and what your macros are, and you get enough protein. All of that is really essential for the physical fitness aspect too.
Absolutely. And it's a physical job these drivers are doing. We've told the stories out here on this podcast many times. And whether you're covered in powder or you're covered in plastic, you're out there working. That's one thing that we know for sure. Greg, when did you kind of decide to make a change, or has this always been something that's been a part of your life?
Well, before I started Bulk, I was at the gym constantly. And like I told Rachel, I gained my freshman 15 for 2 years in a row, and I'm like, something's got to change. So I've really made a huge, not really huge, just like Rachel said, I meal prep, and I make some small changes, but healthier choices, and it makes a big difference.
And when you were
still tempting.
Look, temptation is off the board, especially when you walk into one of those huge truck stops and you see all the choices. I mean, come on.
And I tell you what really woke me up when I first came out here, seeing some of the older truckers, not bulk transit truckers, just over the road truckers and the shape they were in, and couldn't walk, and barely walk with a cane. And I thought, I don't want to be there.
Yeah. That's what Lindsay talked to us last week about, was the life expectancy. 61 years is a very, very low life expectancy, even just compared to the average in the United States. And I'm not sitting here saying that the United States should pull down any trophies for overall health. But when you hear 61 years, I mean, how old are you, Greg?
I'm 2.5 years away from that.
And you don't strike me as a guy that's ready to cross the Rainbow Bridge at this point in time. Okay.
Something's going to take me down, but I don't think it's going to be my health.
There you
Probably
go.
My bad choices.
There you go. And I wonder, when you said you were in the gym a lot before you came to Bulk, was that part of the driving, the racing that you were doing? I know that can be really grueling.
Yes. It was more cardio and racing. We would do 150 lap races. And with no cool suit, because I'm not NASCAR, but right. It was rough. It was rough, in getting older and being in the construction, lifting heavy stuff all the time. I'm like, I've got to make a choice. I don't want to be broke down.
Sure.
I've got a lot of life to live.
And when you started, you talked about gaining that freshman 15 a couple years in a row. You decided it clicked for you. You made the change. What types of changes did you see in the coming months after you made the change, started eating healthier, getting a little more active?
More energy. I sleep better. I really plan my sleep. Sometimes it's really hard training because sometimes you get home and you got time to shower, eat, and it's off to bed. But mainly what kind of food, the quality and quantity of the food I was intaking, and trying to allot myself a strict regimen as far as working out.
Got it. And those things really helped. You saw differences. How soon? Because I know we got drivers out there thinking, man, it's that layover between when I'm not being healthy and when I'm being healthy. How long do I have to wait to see the changes? It's different for everybody, but how was it for you, Greg?
I've dropped 20 already. The first 5 came off in like a week. And I thought, man, I've got this. And then it didn't. Then it was like 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds. And it's just, you just got to keep your nose to the grindstone and just, keep after it. And now and I'm sure Rachel can attest to this. It's kind of, I look forward to going to the gym. I'm energized. I'm relaxed. That's just, I just Zen mode. You forget everything else except for what you're doing.
Man, you're describing me out on the golf course right now. I really wish you could bottle that and put it into me so that I could get that for the gym, because I'll tell you, my main hang up with it, and Rachel, maybe you have comments on this too. Greg and I have chatted a little bit about it over the phone, but I just have zero motivation when it comes time to actually make myself work out. Now, I did motivate myself in an interesting way recently. I went out and spent $1,000 on a rowing machine, which a guy like me who doesn't like to spend money will know that it's sitting in a room downstairs not being used, and that will intrinsically motivate me to get on it and make it hum. But Rachel, how do you deal with that? Are you one of those people like Greg where once you develop the habit, it's like something that you feel like you have to do or else things aren't going to go right?
Yes, absolutely. Gym is my favorite part of the day. I do not rely on motivation to get there. It is just something that I do, and I know I'm going to do it. It's not something I think about. That's something that I have talked to a lot of people about, is you don't think about it in like, should I go? Should I not go? You just go. You just do it. It's part of your day. It's part of your routine. It's not a question whether or not you're going or not. You just do it. It's like a job. If you don't go, you're going to get fired. That's kind of how I think about it.
Those are some high stakes at the gym, I'll be honest with you.
And I'm kind of a bit of a crazy person about it, because if someone tries to like make plans or schedule something and it interrupts my gym time, I won't tell them this, but I have a lot of anxiety about it. Like, I cannot miss my gym time.
That's good, though. That means it's developed into a habit that your body knows is a good one and that your body wants to continue. And I think that's a really cool, the way you framed it was kind of like it's your pre-trip. It's your pre-trip inspection on the day. Like, if you get in the truck without doing this, you're going to have problems, or problems are going to surface. And if you just go ahead and do this and pretend it's the pre-trip is definitely part of the daily task, but pretend it's a daily task. Yep. It's just another thing to check off. It's a lot easier to go. And I'll be honest with you, when that was my biggest thing about having a gym membership, is I've never found myself in the car. If I was in the car headed to the gym, I'm not turning around. It's those 5 steps from the door and unlocking the Silverado and everything that just seemed so daunting every single day. Amazing. Greg, sorry, go ahead, Rachel.
I have a kind of a commitment with myself. Even if I'm not feeling up to it or I don't have any motivation, I always make it there. And then, if I am there for 10 minutes, that's fine. I can go do the elliptical for 10 minutes and leave. But usually once you are there and you're working out, then you're into it and you continue with your session. But that's kind of a commitment that I have made to myself, is that I at least get there and I do 10 minutes.
That's a good commitment to have. It's funny, when I did have a gym membership, I would kind of do the same thing where it's like, look, even if you're only there for a little bit, you still did more than nothing, and that's a good thing. But you still get that feeling of everybody's eyes in the gym on your back as you walk out after being there for only 10 minutes, don't you, Rachel? I know I did. It's
Yep.
like I'm not the coolest or most interesting or prettiest person in this gym. Why do they all have to watch me walk out after 10 minutes? It never made sense to me. But Greg, when you hear Rachel talk about that, how does your approach for the gym kind of is it similar? Is it different? You said it was a strict regimen, how you termed it. So how do you get yourself there? How do you stick to it?
The hardest step is the very first one. Once you take the first step and once you're there, you're motivated. I used to be a member to Planet Fitness, and with the work schedule and stuff, I ended up buying a home gym. My whole downstairs is a gym.
Wow.
And I just go because you never know. My schedule is terrible. I know for a fact I can work out usually Saturday morning and Sunday morning. I'm in there at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then through the week, like I think tomorrow I'm starting at 5:30, so I'll get up probably about 3 and work out, and I just hit it when I can, but I try to hit it 4 times a week.
4 times a week. Okay, that's a heck of a schedule. There's a couple things that I want to dive into a little bit deeper here. Rachel, you mentioned macros, and I will tell you right now, because I can hear the eyes rolling right now, and I understand, normally when you hear somebody talk about macros, they've just busted through a piece of drywall into the room you're in with CrossFit gear on. They're talking about throwing truck tires into a 7-story window for some reason. They're not the type of person that can have a conversation like I know that you can have, Rachel, and put things into simpler terms that are maybe a little bit less intimidating than listening to like your standard gym rat, because you don't strike me, Rachel, as a personality of a gym rat. A lot of times those are highly competitive, a lot of energy, a lot of over-the-top energy. You seem a very even-keel, level-headed gym rat. So I'm going to quiz you here because I want to learn something today. Talk to me about making macros simple for people and kind of understanding how much protein you need, how much fat you need, that type of thing to just keep your body in a state where you can perform, especially the job that bulk drivers have to perform.
So I think people overthink it and overcomplicate it a lot. If you are just starting out and you don't know what macros are, it's your protein, your carbs, your fats. So those are your macronutrients that you need to get in every day. And then you've got your micronutrients, but you don't really need to calculate all of that. If that seems overwhelming, you can start with just your protein and your calories. You can plug that into an online calculator that is specific to your age, weight, height, activity levels, and figure out, what you need to reach your goals that way. But you don't have to be perfect every day. Small habits add up, and you can make it as simple as just calculating your protein and your calories every day and hit those consistently. And then once you hit those, then work in the carbs and the fat on top of that.
And is it a matter of how do I want to put this? Is there like a well-adopted kind of mode of operation for it, like X amount of X grams of protein per pound or anything like that of my body weight, or an easy way to look at it for somebody like that's getting started? And the reason I ask that, my wife is the epitome of a gym rat. She's 6 days a week at the absolute minimum, sometimes 7. I can tell it affects her mood immediately if she's not been able to get there when she wants to. And there was a while where she was doing almost what I would call like weight training and bodybuilding a little bit. And the amount of protein that small woman had to put in her body every week, Rachel, was wild. So obviously there's different applications here, but if I'm just starting out, should I be looking for like a standard, I need X amount of protein if I weigh in this area of pounds?
So it's somewhere around a half gram to a gram per pound of lean body mass. I would say if you want to simplify it, put it into an online calculator. One place that I use is If It Fits Your Macros. So it's iifym.com. There's a good calculator on there.
Okay.
It's free. You can plug your stats in there and get a personalized breakdown of what your calories and your macros should be based on your stats and your goals, because it's going to be different whether you're looking to build muscle, maintain, or lose fat.
Gotcha. Now, Greg, I know that you've picked Rachel's brain a little bit about macros before. Did it fly over your head at the beginning? Because when I heard my wife start talking about it, I was like, you're speaking science to me right now, and I didn't graduate in science, so I need some help here. How did you start to understand this a little bit better?
I had to look it up. I thought she was messing with me. I'm like, man, what the heck is a macro? And then I looked it up and I found, like she said, she uses a different platform, but I've got one that's free and put my body weight in, what I want it to do. And it makes it so easy I can use it. I mean, it's that bad. It tells me how long, when my fast is over, how much protein, how much carbs, and even you can take a picture of your meal and it will tell you what you're eating.
Wow. Well, what does it do if you dump a bunch of melted butter on that meal right before you take the picture, but don't tell it that you put the melted butter on? Can it discern that?
You got to mute the thing every now. Okay. It hasn't done it. I've been lucky enough because I can punch in, like today. I was years old before I ate my first can of tuna, and that was something. But it had it down to everything in the ingredient in it, every percentage. It was, you just push what you eat, and it gave you like 20 different types of tuna. You look at, you cross it over, and it makes it. It's like I said, it's easy. I can use it, and like you were talking, if it's real hard, I'm going to steer away from it.
Did you now? I have to ask something because there was like a sound that went off in my head when you said you were today years old before you ate your first can of tuna. And the sound was something along the lines of like. It was supposed to be a record scratch, but I don't have that button, so I used the broken spring one. How have you lived as long as you have without eating a can of tuna? I mean, I grew up on tuna fish sandwiches. I don't know about you, Rachel, but this is out of the ordinary. Greg just opened a can of tuna for the first time today. Did you drain it or did you drink the juice?
I'm not gonna. I opened it, I smelled it, and I set it on the counter for a minute. I'm like, not today, Satan. And I came back to it and I drained it, and by now the cats are looking at me, and I'm like, well. It's kind of one of the things. I held my breath and took a bite, and I'm like, it's not. I kept telling myself it's not that bad.
Yeah,
and
it's really not.
Yeah, okay, sure. it's an acquired taste, but I'm doing it for the sake of health.
Were you just eating it dry out of the can? You didn't mix any mayo or any Miracle Whip into it or anything?
Yeah, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna go all out. I just put right in, just ate it raw. Heck with it.
That is one way to do it, folks. If you're listening to this right now and you really want to find out what the deep end of the pool feels like, crack open a can of dry tuna and eat it right out of the can plain, because that's the tough part for me of eating healthy is I am a guy who's like, hey, add a little bit of mayo to it. It makes it go down a little bit easier, but mayo's nothing but oil and eggs. So it's okay for me, but it's not that great for me. And Greg, that kind of takes me to the next part of our conversation here is to talk a little bit about how you eat out there on the road, because one thing that I notice in all the podcasts I've made for truck drivers is that we can talk about it, yes, but sometimes the application of it out there on the road can be a little bit more challenging, and the way a lot of drivers deal with that is to meal prep. They make their meals before they ever go out on the road, and then they pack a bunch of stuff. If I cracked open the fridge in your truck during a standard week, what type of stuff would I find in there that you're taking with you, Greg?
Definitely not tuna. Normally, I will grill some chicken breast on Sunday, and I'll put those in there. I bought a rice cooker at Walmart, and I've got an inverter in the truck, so I think the last time I used it, I was coming out of Decatur, Alabama, and I knew I had 35 minutes to get to where I was going to stop for the night. So I put my rice in, put the chicken on top because it steams it, and I eat chicken and rice, a lot of salads, a lot of fruit. I've been doing some dried, like mango, strawberries, bananas. I'm just trying to eat as healthy as I can, and even more so here within the last week. I'm just trying to tighten it down that much more, but. When I first came out, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say who my trainer was, but he got a big cheeseburger. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that looks good. So one cheat day turned into a cheat week, turned into a cheat year, and then next thing you know, you're trying to look like, man, I need bib overall. Something's wrong here.
The wheels can come off pretty fast, Greg. I know what it's like, man. Like I said, I had a donut this morning, and I was looking at myself going, you went for a donut on Monday? Donuts are a Friday breakfast. But I started out the week with a real stumble out of the blocks, so I get it. But sounds like a lot of grilled chicken and rice, man. That's a great way to go about it. You know, I tell you before, I'm a golfer, and I used to really want to be Tiger Woods when I was a young kid until I looked at what Tiger Woods' diet was, and it's like breakfast, salmon, rice, and broccoli. Lunch, chicken, rice, and broccoli. And then dinner, salmon and chicken and rice and broccoli. And it got to the point where I thought there's no way I'm ever going to be a professional athlete because I can't eat like that. But it's actually a little bit easier, Greg, to make it taste good, season it well, play around with it a little bit. You don't have to add a block of cheese or a stick of butter to everything to make it taste good, right?
Right. The tuna, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I would highly advise adding something to it other than your hopes and dreams.
I'll throw this out there. The G. Hughes sauces, you can get sugar-free G. Hughes sauces from just about any grocery store, and they are delicious.
There you go. Have you ever thought about a sugar-free G. Hughes sauce?
I've never heard of such a thing till today.
Well, there you go. Well, you hadn't heard of tuna until today either, so I don't think that's that far out of the ordinary, Greg.
Yeah, I'm thinking if I have to eat tuna like that again, 61 ain't looking bad.
Yeah, let's get you a tuna salad recipe, Greg. I think you might make it past 61. I'll be honest with you. So that's good, though, man. It sounds like the truck's always full of healthy food for you, clean food. And Rachel, I wonder, do you ever get to the point where when you're in the recruiting process where maybe you're giving a little advice about how to meal prep or anything like that to some of the drivers? Or is this maybe a conversation that you have with some of the bulk drivers that you've just developed a relationship with that you don't have need to recruit with anymore? But I feel like this is a pretty big part of your life. I can tell you're very dedicated to it. So it seems like something that you would kind of enjoy talking about.
Absolutely.
Do you give out tips and tricks to drivers if they're asking for them?
I do. I wouldn't say it happens during the recruiting process all that often, but once I've, developed that relationship, I love to talk about this stuff. So a couple of things that come to mind are, like what Greg was saying with, having things in the truck that you can kind of snack on, like fruit. I was just telling him the other day, one of my favorite snacks lately has been dried chickpeas. I keep those in my desk. Pumpkin seeds, sunflower kernels, things like that. I really like to munch on.
Dried
but
chickpeas.
Kind of having a plan if you are out and you do need to swing through a drive-through or something. You don't have to go for, the cheeseburger and fries every time. Wendy's has excellent salads. Chick-fil-A grilled nuggets with some buffalo sauce.
Oh,
You
now
can
you're
do
speaking my
easy
language.
things that are much healthier than your traditional drive-through options.
You could get a salad at Wendy's and then go across the street to Chick-fil-A and get the grilled buffalo nuggets and have yourself a buffalo chicken salad.
There you go.
Which, hey, I mean, if you want a guy like me to eat salad, add the words buffalo chicken, and now we can have a conversation. What other tips, Rachel? Anything else that you maybe on the exercise side? Because look, it's tough when you're driving as much as some of these drivers are. Getting to the gym or getting anywhere to find a bona fide workout is tough. Do you give them any tips or tricks that maybe stuff they can do outside the truck, stretches, walking around, anything like that?
Every little thing adds up. So if you can get out of the truck and take a walk, that matters. Any kind of movement you can do adds up. You don't have to have like a dedicated, specific workout time. Activity throughout the day is all important and all makes a difference.
It does. And I'm so glad that you said that, because that is, as we talk about health among truck drivers, that is something that will always come up. And I picked that up from one of the guys that actually started Project 61. He's no longer with the company, but he's a great guy and he's done great things in the trucking industry for driver health. His name's Dr. Mark Manera. And he told me a story. We talked about it when Lindsay was on the show last week, about a guy who used to drink 24 regular Pepsis a day, and then he started 23 regular Pepsis and 1 Pepsi Zero Sugar, and slowly kind of worked his way through until he was off the regular Pepsi. And the baby steps that you're kind of talking about there,
Yep.
Rachel, how it all adds up is so important, because if you're in a bad spot right now, if you're listening to this and you've been trucking for 10, 15 years and you've never worried about your health over that time, that's a job where you're sitting for 10 hours a day, almost every single day. And regardless of how hard it is, what you have to do when you get out of your truck to load or unload, whatever the case may be, it's probably still not enough. And especially if your diet has consisted of fast food and roller dogs. Look, you're not the only one out there. In fact, I think that that's the majority of truck drivers, honestly, as sad as that is. But that's why we're having this podcast, is so maybe we can do something to affect it. Greg, do you have any baby steps examples, anything that you've had to approach with that mindset of, hey, get there, get one foot in the door, and then sooner or later it'll kind of snowball and all of a sudden it'll become a habit?
You know, the best thing, if you're trying to get better, in my mind, is just do small things. Do like you said, that, you know, the guy did 24, then he did 23. You know, get out. But I'm unloading. It's unloading good. You know, most of the drivers can hear by the sound what the truck's doing. I'm doing laps around the truck, walking, lunging, and you get some funny looks, but I don't really. I've had them my whole life. I don't really care. So, but just get all the exercise you can. When you shut down at night, I usually have tennis shoes and stuff in the truck with me. I'll get out, throw some shorts and a tank top on, and I'll go walk, you know, as far as I can walk before it gets too dark or mosquitoes wear me out.
There you go, right. And that's a cool thing, too, because you might also run into some cool viewpoints, some things that you've never seen before. I know one driver who doesn't have a bona fide home address. He lives out of his truck, and so his favorite thing to do is go find a cool place to park and hike. And that's what keeps him in shape, because he'll find, you know, he's out in New Mexico one day or he's in Colorado one day. And trust me, there's hiking trails all over out here. If you're west of the Rockies, you can't spit and not hit a hiking trailhead. So it's kind of one of those things where there's a lot of opportunity out there, Greg. And if you can find a place that's not overrun with mosquitoes, that's a really good way to do it.
Right. Plus, like you said, you just get to see with this job, you know, it's let me see places I never even knew existed. And you get to meet new people out there too. I enjoy talking to, you know, people I meet. Like, hey, what do you do? You know, I'm pretty curious.
Yeah, exactly. What would you say your favorite physical activity is that you get to during the week, Greg, while you're out driving?
Gosh, I guess would just be the evening walks. Just wherever I go, I got my favorite spots that I want to park the truck. Usually, I don't go to the bigger truck stops. I go to the mom and pop places. And that way, the one's got a bit, like in Saudi Arabia, Tennessee, big creek next to it. So just, you know, walking, but then also like, oh crap, I got to get up at 3 a.m. So you got to kind of watch how long you're walking too.
Right. So, no, a nice long walk can really free the mind too. And there's so many good mental things that come just from getting those cobwebs out and getting the body moving a little bit. You'll find the next day that maybe you're not ruminating on things so much. Maybe the seventh four-wheeler that cuts you off during the first hour of work doesn't get under your skin quite as bad, right, Greg?
Oh man, if I don't get cut off once a day, I'm not doing my job. I enjoy it. It makes my day. If my truck being in somebody's way has ruined their day, they have got a lot worse life than I do.
Amen to that. Rachel, I should ask you the same thing. What's your favorite thing? Like, is it the elliptical in the gym? I have fallen in love with my rower. I really like that thing. But before that, I've got a bum knee. I blew my knee out in a massive wakeboard accident when I was 21, and I don't have any cartilage on the inside of my left knee. So my bones touch. And the elliptical was something that I had to make a living on, because I would start to get into a lot of pain running on a treadmill. But I'm also the guy who's like, I'm not strong enough, but whenever I see a cool weight machine, I'm like, wait, there's muscles there? I got to go try that thing. And I just kind of go and see if I can do it. But what's your favorite activity in the gym, being the gym rat that you are, Rachel?
I lift heavy weights. With your knee issues, you're not going to like what I do, but I like deadlifts. I like squats. I mean, I do a lot of upper body too, but my leg days are what I really enjoy.
Okay. You and my wife would make great friends. She's the same way. She's always talking about squatting and all this different stuff. And I think, man, I would have one leg if I tried to do what you guys do. Because, I mean, I've seen those deadlifts. They seriously, every time I watch a weightlifter do a deadlift, I think this is the one where their knee goes backwards, right? Because I've seen it too many times. But you get in there and you get as many years of experience as you have, Rachel, it probably becomes kind of easy, yeah?
Well, I mean, I do what they call progressive overload. So I'm constantly upping the weight, upping the reps, challenging myself more and more. So it never necessarily gets easy.
Yeah.
If it is easy, I'm not doing enough. But you progress the longer you're with it, and you don't get quite as sore once you're used to it.
I should have realized that easy is a 4-letter word for those of you that consider yourselves gym rats, isn't it, Rachel?
Right.
Greg, how do you deal with the temptation? It's already been talked about. You can go into a Love's and you can do a 360-degree turn and you can see every great snack that's ever been produced on the face of this planet. And you can get yourself a 55-gallon barrel of full sugar soda right there at the fountain for $1.309 to wash it down. How have you policed yourself over these years since you made the changes? And what do you do when you walk into that Love's and start feeling that itch to get yourself a big bag of licorice or something?
Well, the first thing, Love's gives you free points for using it. So you get free drinks and free food. I mean, up until probably, 8 months ago when I decided to make a change, I was getting the free food and free stuff. But now I'm just like a horse at a racetrack. I try to put blinders on. I'm looking for more stuff that's on sale, like in the trucking, like the CB's on sale stuff. I try to not even go near the food that's conveniently placed in a perfect line right to the restroom.
Yeah, it really is. I'm pretty sure the last time I was in there and I went over to look at the truck stuff because I needed to grab some antifreeze, they had it encircled with peanut butter cups. It was really weird, but it was like this. They're thinking about this, Greg.
They're all over the cash registers. I'm like, oh gosh, no. But thank goodness we got the Love's app, so we don't have to really go in unless you need to use restroom and stuff. But I just go in to see what's on sale and walk around more than anything. But it smelled really good today, and I'm like, oh man, I'm hungry, but I couldn't eat yet. I wasn't done fasting, but when I was there, so it's just willpower, I guess.
Willpower. That's a great way to put it, man. And it makes me I want to talk about fasting too, because the most recent trip I took to the doctor, I'm not great at going, but and I made some positive changes too. I don't want anybody to think I'm just ignoring the guy. He's very smart. I mean, he is a doctor, but he asked me to settle down with the butter a little bit because I like my time in the kitchen and I tend to reach for butter over oil. But the other thing he wanted me to do, Greg, was try intermittent fasting, and he basically put me on a 16-8, so I could eat for 8 hours a day, and I was fasting for 16 hours a day. And I will say, one of the harder things I've ever started, because you don't realize how much you just nibble and graze throughout the day until you put yourself on a clock. And man, if you've fallen to temptation and maybe grabbed a cookie or a cracker or a handful of chips right before midnight some night, like I'm typically up kind of late. I have a tendency. It's really, really hard to not eat until 4 o'clock the next day. But you got to do it. So what's your fasting look like, Greg, and how has it helped you? Obviously, for me, it was energy, and once I got through those maybe that first week, the brain fog really went away as well.
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking at my app. I fasted 15 hours and 18 minutes between last night and today. I start fasting at 8 p.m. every night. And it actually helps because I only do 14. So what would that put me at 10 o'clock today? But 10 o'clock today, I was busy. I wasn't even hungry. Mm-hmm. After about the third day, I wasn't hungry, but I was also filling up on better choices. And I don't get hungry. I'm eating a lot more protein. This app, it's called Lose It. It's very simple, but it helps keep me on track because I'm like, okay, it was actually going off today, and I'm like, oh, I can't really do anything about it because here I'm driving on a 270. I really don't want to stop and eat.
Sure.
But yeah. But I mean, what really helped me is eating good, healthy snacks. Let's see. I'm going to look right now. This morning for breakfast, I had 485 calories, 51 grams of protein, 17 carbs, and 23 grams of fat. And I'm still full.
And what did you have?
And that's counting that tuna. Oh,
You had the tuna, I know. Yeah, the can of tuna. We heard about that. But what'd you have for breakfast?
Cottage cheese, a Greek yogurt with blueberries, a quarter cup of cheddar cheese, and 2 meat sticks at 60 things calories apiece.
Okay.
I'm way under my calories, but I'm really watching my protein, carbs, and fat more than I am the calories. It's just I've still got 1,200 calories to eat today. So.
Well, that made Rachel perk up when you said you're watching those macros there. I know that she's excited about that.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned some really good things to keep on the truck that you had for breakfast there that maybe drivers don't realize. Like, it's real easy to buy yourself a big tub of yogurt, Greek yogurt. You can even get some of the flavored stuff if you have to, because plain Greek yogurt tastes like you're eating sour cream. I get it. But hey, put some blueberries in it, flavor it up a little bit, make it better. Cottage cheese is another thing.
In it.
Well, you can definitely try that. I mean, I've never mixed my tuna with sour cream, but I don't know. Greg, do anything other than eat it plain. That's all. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the wrong here, Rachel. How do you consume your tuna when you eat tuna, Rachel? Do you put anything in it?
I put mayo in it.
Okay, good. Because I've seen my wife eat it straight out of the can before, and even the corgis look at her weird. So
now, what I'll say is, I might put mayo in it. You need to measure that out. Don't just eyeball it.
Yeah.
But you can add stuff in and get it to fit your macros and your calories and stuff without going overboard.
It is one thing that sucks about trying to get healthy. You no longer get to measure things like mayonnaise with your heart. You need to measure it with your heart in mind, but not with your actual heart, because it's too much can really throw that tuna, which is a very healthy snack, off the rails. But, I've even I've had it suggested to me by some nutrition professionals that, hey, a can of tuna, a couple of squeezed packets of mayo, and some crackers can be a really, really healthy snack. It's going to keep you going for a long time. Greg talked about yogurt and cottage cheese, 2 things that fit really well. They store really well in your fridge, and they'll last for a while too if you keep them cold. And you can add blueberries to just about anything. I mean, I've even seen people put blueberries in their cottage cheese. I haven't had people tell me that to eat cottage cheese and cheddar cheese at the same time. Do you combine those, or are you just, raw dogging the cheddar cheese?
Yeah, I can eat cheddar cheese straight up. I eat all those separate except the blueberries I put in the yogurt.
Okay, gotcha. Rachel, do you have any other recommendations for things that drivers can keep on the truck that store well, are easy to snack on, and also are going to help you stay a little bit healthier?
Nothing overly specific comes to mind at the moment, but I will suggest that you avoid marketing tactics. A lot of things are marketed as high protein that are not actually necessarily high protein. One thing specifically that a lot of people think of as high protein is peanut butter, and that does have some protein in it, but it is very high calorie compared to the amount of protein that you're actually getting from that.
Right.
So one quick tip, instead of like looking at a box and seeing that it says high protein, if you compare the calories to protein, you're looking for 10 to 1. So if it's got, 100 calories, 10 grams of protein, that would be high protein.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's a real easy way to look at it.
Yep.
That's simple math. That's something I can wrap my head around. I love that. And something else I've seen, if you are a friend of the robots, if you're a user of ChatGPT or any of these, I guess, large language models is what they're called, they're also, if you train them well and tell them exactly what you're looking for, they can help you. My wife has been on a very restrictive diet due to some stomach issues she had. And being able to take a picture of the logo and just load it into ChatGPT. She's on, I don't know if you've heard of this, Rachel. It's called the FODMAP diet. You know what that, she's basically
anti-inflammatory.
Yeah, she's got a little bit of IBS going on, not to share too much. I've got it too. We're just a big happy family that's plumbing's in trouble, but hey, it is what it is. Those are the choices we made, and that's what we have to deal with now. And she's been on this super highly restrictive diet, and the large language models have helped her when she's at the store shopping. She just takes a picture of the logo and says, is this high or low FODMAP? And it'll tell her whether it's high or low and why, what things that are in it that are causing it to be high or low. So what I guess we're all kind of saying here is there's different apps, different technology that can really help you out with this.
Absolutely.
You don't necessarily have to be a math whiz or a nutrition genius to do this. Greg mentioned the app Lose It, which is where he's on track with his fasting and his calorie counting and everything like that, macros. And again, Rachel, could you tell us what that website was that you used, just so I don't forget it, because it was kind of an acronym, right?
Yeah, if it fits your macros. So IIFYM.
IIFYM.com. This is great stuff, because I know when we have a conversation about this and you hear two people talk about it, what I'm getting out from you, Greg, and from you, Rachel, is that this was not a struggle for you. This was a decision that you made at some point in time in the past, and you have kept yourself to it. It is hard. It will be difficult for a week or two, but once you turn that new thing into a habit, all that real tough part of it kind of goes away and starts to feel like just another thing that's part of your routine. So I say make use of the technology. I say use it all the time. You don't have to be a guy out there with a Whoop band and a smartwatch and all the rest of it, but if you have an app on your phone that helps make it a little easier, by all means, go for it. I mean, I just found recently that I can track my golfing time in my phone, just having it in my pocket. And I always thought, well, I'm getting about 3 miles in when I'm golfing. When I actually tracked it the other day, I realized that even when I play a par 3 course on foot, I'm walking 5.5 miles. It doesn't say great things about where I'm hitting the ball, but I'm getting plenty of exercise in. And that actually, like when I told my wife that, all of a sudden me golfing twice a week was not as big of a deal because she wants me to be healthy. And yeah, it's a little bit more expensive than a gym membership, but I also come home a lot happier. So it's about finding out the way that you operate and adapting this system to the way that you operate, right, Greg? You've got to make it fit in your day. You've got to make it not be a headache, and then it'll become a habit.
You can't stress over it. And I read one article that says it takes 30 days to make something a habit. So
Yep.
just a small change will make a huge difference.
Yep. There used to be a radio commercial around here where a guy that owned a gym would say, grab your calendar, turn it forward 3 months and put an X on 3 months from today. That's when your new workout will become a habit. And every time I listened to that, I thought,
Wow.
This guy's bad at marketing, because if he would have just said a week, I would have gone and spent the money. But he had to say 3 months. I ain't got that kind of time. I think you're right, Greg. I think it's more about a month. It seems to me to be 3 to 5 weeks, somewhere in that area is when I'll stop thinking about it and just do it.
Yes.
Rachel, any advice for somebody trying to make that change?
I think, again, people just get in their heads about it. You don't have to commit to like a specific workout. You can try different things. If weightlifting is not your thing, go do some cardio. Cardio is not your thing, try some Pilates. Again, back to taking a simple walk. Whatever movement or, healthy eating habits you can accumulate over time and get into and that you'll actually stick to are all beneficial and are all going to make a difference. So you don't have to, commit to this specific workout. And then if that doesn't work out, you failed. No, just pick something else and commit to doing something that you actually enjoy.
Yep. Doing something active every single day is a real good way to start. If you just say, you know what, I'm going to take a walk around the truck, 10 laps, every single time I pull over, whatever the case may be. Baby steps. We talked about that already. Just get your foot in the door, and sooner or later, going into the building doesn't seem like a big chore anymore. This has been great, you guys, and what I hope is that we can do more episodes like this down the road, because I know there's a lot of drivers out there listening to this segment right now thinking, A, either I need to make the change, I want to make the change, or B, hey, I did make the change and I'm seeing success and I want to share my story. We'll talk to everybody that wants to be involved. You guys know how to get a hold of me now. Head over to the website, podcast.bulktransit.com, and send me a message. That's how this whole episode came out. Greg said, hey, I think it would be cool to do this. We'd already done the interview with Lindsey Bryan, and we had it just kind of waiting on the shelf, and we thought, what a cool 2-episode series to put out here where we're really focused on driver health, driver fitness, extending that life expectancy past the age of 61. There's so many different resources for you out there, and we haven't even mentioned all the free stuff that Project 61 offers as well. There's a Project 61 app. All you got to do is head over to project-61.org, and you can check out all the stuff that Lindsey talked about on the show last week. This is something that a lot of people are focused on, and a lot of people are focused on it for good reason. 61's not old enough. Definitely not for the people that move this country from coast to coast every single day. We need these guys out there, and we want them to be healthy. Thank you guys both for joining me today. I want to get your final thoughts here before we take off. But we'll make another one of these episodes. If 5 or 6 people get in touch with me after this episode airs, we'll make another one in short order. You got to let me know if you want to come on and share your story or talk about your struggles, because we'll get somebody on here with you that can relate and that can maybe help you, give you some tips, and get better and get healthier, because that's the name of the game right here with these 2 episodes. Rachel Dellaposta, Recruiting and Retention Manager for Bulk and Spur, thank you so much for being here. We always enjoy our time with you, whether you're here under duress or you're here on your own. It does not matter. We're glad to have you. Final thoughts from you before we let you get going today, Rachel.
I'll just reiterate that, don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing kind of thing. I just went to my niece's birthday party over the weekend and I ate the cake. It's not that serious. We're just trying to make small improvements that build up over time. If you fall off the wagon, get right back on it tomorrow.
There you go. And if you want to call Rachel for some inspiration, I'm sure she's happy to take the call, right?
Absolutely.
There you go. Greg Sigler, great stuff from you as always, man. Your brain was where this idea came from. We really appreciate it. Final thoughts from you before we let you get back today.
I just want to, if you make one small thing, one small change, it's not going to happen overnight. Don't get discouraged. You're going to fail. We all fail at some point. It's just how you get back up and do it again. Like Rachel kind of touched on what she said. You don't have to weight lift. You don't have to do one specific thing, but you're going to do something that you enjoy, and you're going to do it a lot more if you enjoy it.
Yep. It's absolutely true. And, stop Greg out there on the road if you see him. Stop by Rachel's office if you're at the terminal there. They're giving out free high fives for anybody that's trying. I guarantee it, because that's all we can do, right? Everybody just put the effort in, and all of a sudden we see a big change. That's worth a high five. And if you get out here along I-5 in Eugene, Oregon, give me a call when you're driving by. I'll come out, stand in the bar ditch, and give you a high five on your way by. We just want that life expectancy to get higher than the age of 61. And with people like Project 61 on board helping, and people like Rachel and Greg willing to come in and share a little bit of what they do, that will affect change, I promise you. Rachel, Greg, you guys did great today. Thank you so much. We'll get you back in here soon, okay?
Thanks for having me.
Great stuff there from Rachel and Greg. Always appreciate their time here on the show. And you know what? If you learned anything from it, I would say it's kind of the same takeaway that we had from Lindsey Bryan with Project 61 last week. Let's make small incremental changes. Let's change out 1 full sugar soda for a 0 sugar soda. Let's take 1 cheeseburger off the menu and add some grilled chicken and rice with a few vegetables. Or let's try some yogurt and berries instead of the donut in the morning. God knows I didn't do that for myself today. I had the donut, but tomorrow I'm having the yogurt and blueberries. It's already down there in the fridge. All I got to do is take it out and pop it open. Hey, hats off to Greg for expanding his horizons and trying one of the most offensive snacks on the market, dry tuna straight out of the can. And look, that's a real healthy one. If you want to go down that route, the cat food route, as we like to call it, you can go down it. But as Rachel said, you can also, as long as you don't measure with your heart, put a little bit of mayo in there. You know what you can put in there that you can measure with your heart, if you're that kind of guy, is mustard. I told a guy that I put mustard in my tuna salad one day, and he didn't talk to me for a week. But I do, because I like the tang and anything to break up the dryness of a can of albacore tuna, okay? I'd put water back on it if that wasn't so offensive that my wife wouldn't talk to me for a week. But, again, it's making that decision. Greg was almost 60 years old before he finally tried tuna for the first time out of the can. And listen, if you can wait that long, then you can start a new habit. It's that simple. If you've got that kind of willpower, you've got the willpower to crack that can open and give it a try. Even if your cats are giving you the cross eye, I'll be honest with you, Greg. The only reason the cats were looking at you like that is because they were wondering if you were going to finish it. Because let me tell you, you can smell a dry can of tuna from a mile away. Those cats were excited and probably a little bit perturbed that you didn't share. But hey, great episode today. Like, I love that Greg decided to share that with us because he knew that he was going to catch a little bit of flack from me. Just to, hey, it's a can of tuna. It's not that crazy. Everybody eats tuna, right? No, not everybody. Don't make assumptions. They make an ass out of me and you, or you and me, however that saying goes. Anyway, lots of takeaways from today's episode, okay? We haven't even really touched the exercise part of it yet. And you heard Rachel talk about it. Like, don't get so inside your head about it. Turn it into like your pre-trip inspection. This is not something that you elect to do each day. This is something that you do each day. This is brushing your teeth. This is combing your hair. This is flossing. Whatever you want to make it, you got to do it. And even if it's not every day a week, you heard Greg. He's dropping pounds. They're falling off of him right now. He's doing intermittent fasting. He's watching what he eats, and he's making sure to get a workout in 4 days a week. That's just over half of the days in any given week. I think that you can manage that. I hope I can manage it. And I don't drive truck, but I'm going to go on this journey with you guys and try it. Like I said, got a brand new rowing machine sitting in the room that is directly below me right now. And I can almost hear it laughing at me when I don't use it. I spent the money. I might as well get out there and get a little bit sweaty. And so I'm trying. I'll take you guys with me on my journey, okay? What I've decided to do, I want to play golf at least once a week. That's about 5.5 miles worth of walking, toting my clubs around. I think that's pretty good. I want to get on the rowing machine a couple times a week. And then I have band practice with my band that lasts for 3 to 4 hours once a week, and I am the drummer. So naturally, I'm getting the workout back there. We're practicing in like an 85-degree hot concrete box. So I'm getting a good sweat in. I'm sweating all those toxins out so that I can go to the store the next day and get a donut, add more toxins back in. All jokes aside, I'm trying the 4-day-a-week thing, all right? Couple days rowing, at least 1 day golfing, and 1 day drumming. I always hope to up the golfing to like 3 or 4 days a week. The only problem is it's expensive. So, but it's something. I'm doing something. I'm out there being active, and I know that you drivers can do the same thing. So share your success stories with me. Maybe you've already made these changes. Maybe this is old hat for you, and you're 2 to 3 years into the routine. That's great. Tell me that story. Go over to podcast.bulktransit.com and send me an email. I want to hear your guys' responses on this. Have you made the change? Did this episode inspire you to make the change? Are you still looking for the best way to make the change? Maybe we can bring you on and talk it out with you, with a couple people who have made the change, and we can help give advice. That's what this whole thing is about. Find another driver, make a friend, give them some good tips if they ask for them, and hey, maybe we start to live past the age of 61 on average, because when you really sit down and look at that number, 2 weeks in a row, we've been focused on that number. It's way too low. Way too low. And we got to get our drivers healthier as an average across the board. But especially here at Bulk and Spur, we've got your guys' health in mind, and we want to make sure that we provide the best tips and tricks to going out there and making a positive change so that you can enjoy more time with your family in your golden years. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Always Pneumatic, Never Static. Once again, the website where you can shoot me an email and tell me how things are going for you in your health and fitness journey, podcast.bulktransit.com. And one last reminder, you do have a homework assignment that's a little extra. Tell a friend, all right? Do your part. Maybe you're already making these good decisions. You're already exercising outside the truck. You're already eating healthy. How do you help? Easy. Tell a friend about these episodes because it could be the one catalyst that they need to make this change in their own life. Thank you all so much for being here today. I've been Marcus. You've been awesome. We will see you all next week for another hour of content from us here at Always Pneumatic, Never Static. Stay safe out there, Bulk and Spur. We'll see you next week.
And that's all she blows for today's episode of Always Pneumatic, Never Static, your number one and probably only pneumatic trucking podcast, brought to you by Bulk Transit. Thanks for rolling with us today. Till next time, stay safe, keep those lines clear, and keep it pumping.